Diversity in the workplace. Work settings today many kinds of diversity. Diversity of cultures are found in professional groups as well as individual groups. Some studies have shown that professions have unique characteristics that suit the definition of culture. With organizations, someone could find big differences. For example, two colleagues in the same city with very different cultures, one may have a formal structure while the other may be more informal. As an anecdote, I did my professional practice at Panama Canal Administration, and I have a direct contact with my manager daily. And I found myself having a meeting with a group of practitioners with the administrator of the Panama Canal. It was a privilege, and also it was a great experience to meet him. After that, I get my first job in a call center. And not so much I have exchanged greetings with my manager. He just get busy with other stuff, and there was a big difference of workplace environment. In one, I have a direct contact, while the other, I have an indirect contact with my manager. Workplaces today have also been described as a multi-generational, with each generation having unique cultural characteristics. A workplace could well include workers of different generations. We need to manage that fact when we begin by defining aspects of this diversity, and then look at strategies that could be applied and adapted to these cases.
The culture of professions is this type of culture around occupations, around professions. For example, nurses, doctors, teachers, engineers. For example, these people join in associations that have and share the same values, same fights, same preoccupations. This is the culture of professions. The role culture have defined tasks, defined procedures, and clear authority. And the form to improve, to motivate the worker to improve the work, the performance of the work is the financial rewards, is bonus, is extras. For example, the power culture is more is how to see or describe with high expectations of loyalty. How is this? What is this? Is avoid the lie, avoid the cheating, avoid these bad practices. Okay, and the measures to keep the responsibilities is for example, when you are responsible for one department, you give the answers that the things happens in this department. Achievement culture, a force or force the creativity, competition, the independence in its employees. Okay, the rule here is the competence. Okay, to be the best employee of the year, for example, is the motivation of many employees in this place. The people culture emphasizes in the relationship, in the friendship, is more kindness, the environment, and the rule is the group. Okay, the achieve is in the group, the work is in the group, all is in the group. Culture of professions is this type of culture around occupations, around professions. For example, nurses, doctors, teachers, engineers. For example, these people join in associations that have and share the same values, same fights, same preoccupations. Diverse personalities in the workplace. The diverse personalities is possible to find in every place, in everywhere. Okay, and the phone to the employers to recognize the people, the workers, is the test. The tests are based in 5 principal personalities. Okay, the consciousness, agreeableness, extroversion, negative, or neuroticism. These tests are based in these five personalities. The cultural diversity in workplace. There are workplace more homogeneous. There are places more heterogeneous. They're more homogeneous, for example, is the buildings, the construction. It's more common, not is a rule. It's the more common that you found men working in this place. In the beautiful salon, it's more common that you find, women in this place, working in this place. Not is the rule. Again, not is the rule. It's more common. And the business, the commercial area is more heterogeneous. You can find diverse nationalities, diverse skin color, diverse opinions, diverse political positions that you can imagine. That you can imagine is diverse in this place. And follow the culture and gender. The culture and gender is refer the difference between the men and woman to see one object. Okay, one object. What the same object, the same situation is very different. Is see with different perspective. Woman, men. Okay, and it's more common, for example, that the woman apologize in many situations than the men. In the humor, the women tend to self-put down, self-criticism than the men, and the men in change attack with mock hostiles. Okay, not is the rule. Again, not is the rule. Is more common. Is the more common. In diversity in ability is the skills, the abilities that you have that others don't have. Okay. In other form to see this is, for example, the people that have disabilities. These people have one disability but have other abilities in replace of this disability. I wait that this information will help you to understand this interesting topic. Thank you.
Good morning, teacher and classmates. Ariel Torres here, and today I'm going to talk about the workplace communication. Much communication in the workplace takes place over the phone. Answering the phone isn't a difficult physical task, but using it in a business-like and professional manner isn't so straightforward. Being effective as well as staying calm and controlled can be quite demanding. Good telephone manners at work include techniques such as introducing yourself with your first and last name, developing rapport by using a friendly tone of voice, company name and department, and use a friendly tone of voice. Answer a question promptly and efficiently, and asking both open question for general information and closed question for clarifying the facts. Take notes to help you remember the content of the call. Check back with the caller to make sure you have the correct information and end the call on a positive note. While it's important to remain polite at all times, keep in mind that you are entitled to be spoken to respectfully, even if the speaker is angry or upset. If a caller becomes abusive, it's your right to terminate the conversation. Communication technology is radically changing the environment of our workplaces, not only on how we conduct business and communicate at work, but also from where we can work. Video conferencing, online collaboration, smartphones, email, instant messaging, VOX, and Wi-Fi are all leading to creation, virtual teams, and even virtual companies. However, while many see technology as a boon to bottom line, it also possesses some challenges. One observation made over 2 decades ago that the promised paperless office is drowning in paper, and that proposed savings and hidden and are eaten up by cost of planning, implementing, and continually upgrading labor-saving technology, may still at least partially reflect today's reality.
Workplace relationship. Workplace relationships are becoming more and more important as more of our time is spent in work situations, whether face to face on a traditional office or online. Let's look at several kind of workplace relationship or several type of workplace relationship. And one of them is mentoring relationship. In a mentoring relationship, an experienced individual helps train a person who is less experienced. An accomplished teacher, this is one example that explains clearly what is mentoring relationship, might mentor a young teacher who is nearly arrived in a school or who have never taught before. The mentor guide the new person through the ropes, teach the strategy and technique for success, and also give the tool to help the student and otherwise communicate his or her accumulated knowledge and experience to the mentor. There is a mutual and open sharing of information and thought about the job. The relationship enables the novice to try out new skills under the guidance of an expert to ask questions and to obtain the feedback so necessary to the acquisition of complex skills. Let's take an example. A person begins to work in an industrial machine department. So the person who has the responsibility to teach the new employer how to use some machine has to share information about what the new employer knows to do and what doesn't, to know what to teach the new employer. Networking relationship is simple the art of many people and benefiting from those relationships. Often, the benefit of this relationship is to obtain information and leads to further grow your business. Any successful relationship, whether a personal or a business relationship, is unique to every pair of individuals and it involves over time. Effective relationship networking is all about building those relationships and maintaining long-lasting connection with other professionals. You can network with people who know the people you know. Thus, you might contact a friend's friend to find out whether the firm where he or she works is hiring. Or you might contact people with whom you have not connection. Perhaps you have read something the person wrote or heard the person's name raised in connection with an area in which you are interested and you want to get more information. With email addresses so readily available, it is now quite common to email individuals you have particular expertise and ask your question. New groups and chaperones are other obviously networking avenue. Several heads are better than one. This is a phrase that helps us to understand what's the purpose of working in a team. Working in a team means working with a group of people to achieve the shared goals or outcome in an effective way. Listen to other members of the team, taking everyone's idea on board, not just your own, working for the good of the group as a whole. Having a say and sharing responsibility, a successful team is one where everyone's unique skill and strength help the team achieve a shared goal in the most effective way. If you have good people skills, you will have a good team player, and skill like communication and having positive attitude make a great team. Teams develop over time as people work together, and the stage of team development are often described by forming is becoming oriented, storming that struggling over purpose and goals, norming, resolving concern, building trust, performing, working productively toward shared goals, transforming, bringing about change, celebrating accomplishment.
Leadership in the workplace. Effective leadership in the workplace is a rapidly growing field of study. Numerous books, articles, courses now define leadership and provide advice on how to be a good leader. Leaders can be managers or have other titles that give them the power to make decisions and influence people. Formal leaders may have responsibilities for a range of domains from multi-site industry to small departments within an organization. Otherwise, informal leaders may also sometimes be influential in organizations. These informal leaders are people without official titles or offices, but who are respected because of personal wisdom or a willingness to help and to share. Leaderships consist of having the ability to impact and influence other lives. In short, leaders have the power to influence anyone. You can be a leader and influencer with the things you are doing daily. Make the difference, impact lives, encourage yourself, and provide inspirational motivation. You can do what you want to do.
Now we will talk about principles of power. You may wonder, why are we talking about interpersonal power? Well, interpersonal power is what enables the individual with power to influence the behaviors of others and is governed by a few principles. These principles will help you explain how power works interpersonally and how you may more effectively deal with power. Now we are going to talk about the first principle. Power varies from person to person. As we already know, some people are born with assets that empower them. But anyone can increase their interpersonal power. For instance, if you feel that you don't exude power at all, you can learn the principles of effective communication and increase your power to persuade. You're wondering, how can you convey power? Here's your answer. Confidence communicates power. One of the clearest ways you can communicate power is by demonstrating confidence through your verbal and non-verbal behaviors. At this point, it's right to mention a class war about the vice presidential debate and recall how Kamala Harris projected herself with so much confidence that we all could feel it through our screens. The next principle, and this one is power is a part of all interpersonal messages. Now let's rewind a little bit and recall that in chapter 1 we introduced a key principle that it is impossible to not communicate. So by the same token, you cannot communicate without making some implicit comment on your power or lack of it. This means that when interacting on the basis of your verbal and non-verbal messages, people will assess your power along with your competence, trustworthiness, honesty, openness, and so on. Now we have some major characteristics of powerless speech. Hesitation. It makes you sound unprepared and uncertain. Example, I want to say this one is the best, you know? Too many intensifiers make your speech monotonous and don't allow you to stress what you want to emphasize. For example, really, this was the greatest. It was truly phenomenal. Now, of course, we must include nonverbal communication of power. Just as we communicate our power or lack of power verbally, we also communicate it nonverbally. For example, through the things we wear and on. Nonverbal communication takes on a key role in the workplace environment. Touching, which is a major aspect of nonverbal communication, can also be an expression of power. Touching takes on great complexity in workplace settings. The interpretation of touching is strongly influenced by one's own culture, gender, and the culture of the profession. Nonverbal behavior can convey a lack of power, as when someone fidgets at a meeting, but perhaps the most important part of communicating power is demonstrating your knowledge, your preparation, and your organization in relation to whatever you are doing. And now we have the last principle. Power is frequently used unfairly. Even though we wish power always wielded for the good of all, it is often used selfishly and unfairly in the workplace. We always see unethical uses of power in interpersonal relationships. Here we will explain two serious examples of the unethical use of power: sexual harassment and power plays. Well, sexual harassment or harassment of any kind is an extreme form of abuse of power. There are two general categories of sexual harassment. In one, employment opportunities, as in hiring and promotion, are made dependent on the granting of sexual favors. The other category is hostile environment harassment. Although most cases brought to public attention are committed by men against women, women may also harass men. Anyone in an organization can be guilty of sexual harassment. And now we have power plays. Power plays are patterns of communication in which a person tries to take unfair advantage of another person by showing them that they are more powerful. When someone constantly ignores you or what you say, you can feel disempowered. When someone constantly reminds you that you owe them for a past favor, they are exerting unfair power. Now that we know what power plays is, if you ever feel trapped in one, follow these tips. Express your feelings. Tell the person you are angry, annoyed, or disturbed by their behavior. Describe the behavior to which you object. For example, you object to them reading your email, taking your phone, using your things without asking. State a cooperative response that you can both live with. Tell the person in a cooperative tone what you want. For instance, I want you to knock before coming into my office. I want you to ask me if you can use my cell phone, and so on. Thank you.
Now I'm going to talk about intrapersonal power, self-esteem. How much do you like yourself? How valuable a person do you think you are? How competitive do you think you are? The answer to this question will reflect your self-esteem, the value that you place on yourself. Success brings success. When you feel good about yourself, about who you are and what you're capable of doing, you will perform better. When you think like a success, you're more likely to act like a success. When you think you are a failure, you're more likely to act like a failure. Attack self-destructing belief. Actively challenge those beliefs you have about yourself that you find are unproductive or that make it more difficult for you to achieve your goals. Examples of unproductive belief are the feeling that you have to succeed in everything you do and believing that you have to be loved by everyone. Replace that self-destructing belief with more productive ones, such as I succeed in many things, I don't have to succeed in everything, and it will be nice to be loved by everyone, but it isn't necessary to my well-being or my happiness. Seek out positive people. Some people criticize and find fault with just about everything. Others are positive and optimistic. They reward us. They stroke us. They make us feel good about ourselves. To enhance your self-esteem, seek out these people. At the same time, avoid negative people, those who don't make you feel good about yourself. Secure affirmation. Remind yourself of your success. Focus on your good deeds, your positive qualities, strengths, and virtues, and keep your last positive performance appraisal in your desk so that you can refer to it occasionally. Affirm yourself by trying to honestly appraise your strengths and then focus on them. For example, you could affirm yourself by stating, I am a reliable employee, I have made positive contribution to the sales campaign, I help most of my clients find employment. Work on projects that will result in success. Try to consciously select projects that will result in success. Action will help build self-esteem and make the next success a little easier.